All right. Let me kill this for the time being. We are back. And I have to do a little rearranging, so just hold your horses here. Just refresh and get things going here. Here we go again. All right. Let me just make some tweaks. Bring you all over here. All right. Let me just get my promo stuff out of the way before we begin our RPG fun for the night. Let's do our little nightcap here. The unglamorous side of streaming, everybody. We'll get stuff going. Hopefully you enjoyed the tunes. Thank you, Anxious Doe. Just pull up my Discord. Good. Alrighty. All right. Let's bring me over here. Make myself bigger. Hey! There we are. How about that? All the stuff we have to do on the fly, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, let's get some music going. This is a horror RPG, so I need to find some appropriate horror ambient music here to it is a dungeon crawler, so I have to get some nice dungeoning going on. We wouldn't want to have, happy-go-lucky, wouldn't want to have, songs in a major key, while we're dungeon delving over here. So let me just find something to play with. Actually, let's see what I can do. When all else fails, go to our good friend YouTube. Okay. Hey, focus. There we go. There we go. All right. Now then, we are just about ready to begin. So, just some context here. So this is I've never done a solo RPG before. This is something that I know that my spouse, Ethan, has acquired a collection of. I don't know if they've actually done any of them, but they are accruing in indie RPGs, solo RPGs, the way I accrue video games in my backlog. And I wasn't really, none had really piqued my interest until now. Well, last fall, when I was at PAX Unplugged, and I found one that was a dungeon crawler. It is a solo dungeon crawler. It is called What Lies Beneath, a solo dungeon crawler of dice, decisions, and death. And this is brought to you by Fervent Workshop. And just as that little description on the back of the book, you awaken in a crypt, you're past a haze. Outwit magical adversaries, find a cure for a mysterious disease, rediscover your own identity, and defeat those who caused your unfortunate situation. Or die trying. So this book is set up as a series of solo encounters. And, I mean, all we need for this is the character sheet, which is available in the back of the book, or as you can see what I've pulled up there, I've pulled the character sheet from their website, from Fervent Workshop's website, and I filled it out there. So let's see. Oh, I see what it did. All right, well, I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way then. I am going to have to pull up the original character sheet, because when I saved this morning, I don't know if it will allow me to go back in and edit. No, it didn't make me edit. All right, well, we're just going to take a second here to do this. I thought it allowed me to make fillable fields, but apparently it did not. So, let's do that. This will only take me a minute. I thought when I had saved it, it allowed me to edit it, but clearly it did not. So, let's make that. Let's do that right now. Let's make that bigger. Scale you down, move you back over. All right. Technology, ladies and gentlemen. Just putting in all numbers for now. The things I did to try to prep for this evening, undone by technology. This doesn't require a whole lot of complicated setup. This is just, we're using all D6s here. I don't know how many of you out there have ever played any sort of solo RPGs, but common mechanics either are D6s, Jenga towers, a deck of cards, and sometimes tarot cards, or any combination of those, actually. Those are the ones that I have seen personally. This particular one uses D6s. So, there, now that we've set that up, rather than going and explaining all the different rules to you, because you are experiencing this as I am for the first time, so this is all new to me. So, the overview for this game. In this game, you play the role of a hero who must escape a crypt, find a cure for a mysterious disease, and perhaps discover and defeat those who caused your unfortunate situation. All gameplay instructions appear in this font. Blah, blah. It's the narrative storyline. This book consists of numbered encounters such as E1, which will not be read in order. Each encounter may direct you to read the next encounter or to choose among several options. Some of these options will only be available to you if you possess a certain item or if you pass a test involving dice. Failing such test may result in harm to you, as indicated by a statistic called Vigor. Your Vigor may increase without limit or decrease. If your Vigor ever becomes 0 or negative, you die and you lose the game. If you die, restart from the beginning with a new character. You lose everything from your old character except your unspent experience points from your old character. You may spend XP to upgrade your new character as described at the end of this book in the Rules Reference and Arcana Appendix. Your goal is to find your way through this book to a page that states survival, or even better, victory. The book has several paths to survival and victory, and many paths to death. So again, we have our character sheet. I have a bunch of D6s and just a pencil and eraser. I won't be... Everything you'll see will be written on the screen there, but, you know, just in case. Just in case. So before we really get to truly diving in here, I just want to remind everyone, I don't know, I see we've got some additional, our audience has grown a bit, so I just want to let everyone know that this is a charity stream for the Trevor Project. They are an organization that provides critical resources and help and counseling for LGBTQ youth who are having a really hard time, or just a really... being in a place where they are not safe to express themselves, to be queer. And this is a very important thing. It's a very important cause, especially in light of the fact that in a week, I think a little less now, the Trump administration is getting rid of, they're shutting down the section of the 988 National Crisis and Suicide Hotline that handles... LGBTQ community. They're getting rid of that option completely, saying that that promotes radical gender ideology or some such slop, which is bullshit, because queer people have always existed. We will continue to exist. There are reasons why I am wearing the goose from Untitled Goose Game, holding the bisexual flag. Your streamer is bi, in case there was any doubt of that. So if you are able to donate, just pull up ! Donate. It'll pull up the link. If you're able to contribute, that would be greatly appreciated. Any amount, no amount is too big or too small. If you are able to, again, just wonderful. But if you can't, then I understand. No, there is no judgment here. Everyone's financial situation is different. I get it. All I ask, if you are unable to contribute, is to then just spread the word. So every stream I am doing this month is a charity stream. And I'm doing giveaways for every $100 we raise. We had one earlier this afternoon while I was playing Hades. We are $75 away from the next giveaway. And if we get to that next milestone this evening, then the giveaway for that is going to be... I just had all of them. Where are you? There's one more in this collection. But anyway, the giveaway is going to be a standard set of D&D dice, but they are these massive, these huge D&D dice. So just for comparison's sake, I'll hold up the D6. This is a normal size D6. I have it upside down, but anyway. But yeah. Just for comparison's sake. They are large dice. So if we get to $200 this evening, that is the giveaway. It's this large set of dice. So. And good evening, Low Base Guy. Welcome on in. I am doing very well. I've been streaming for the last 6 hours, so And we are continuing to go through until around 9:30-ish. Depending on how long this goes, we might be getting around to 10. And I'll be back again tomorrow, back to the video games. I'll be playing Celeste for at least a few hours. And I will probably be doing a thing, as I do whenever I do one of these weekend-long charity streams, I always do a thing where, like, I will contribute $1 for every time I die. Or, like, one time I was playing Sonic the Hedgehog, and I did, like, a couple dollars for every Chaos Emerald I grabbed along the way or something like that. So, there will be a thing. All right. I just uploaded myself. This isn't the Matrix yet. All right. So, with that said, this is how we set up our character sheet, where I'm going to roll 2d6s. If I roll doubles, re-roll one die until my dice have 2 different values. Look at the table below and select one of the 2 corresponding rows. Copy your class, starting, hit points, dexterity, wit, and vigor statistics to your character sheet. Leave name, XP, and ENC blank. So, there are 6 classes in this game. Extra person did I didn't go to shooting. I got yeah. I am very sorry, and I hate that our wonderful capitalist for-profit healthcare system does that. But yes, 6 classes: Bard, Berserker, Druid, Rogue, Warrior, and Wizard. And so I'm about to roll 2d6s, and if they're 2 separate values, I'm going to pick one of these characters. So, let's do it. Let's roll these, the blue and the reds. See what we get. We have a 4 and a 1. So the 1 is Bard. And the Bard has a hit of 2, a dex of 1, a wit of 2, a vigor of 8. So 8 HP to start. The other one is a Rogue, who has a hit of 1, a dex of 2, wit of 2, and also has 8 HP to start. So, doesn't really matter here. If I had rolled a 2, that would have been a Berserker. That would have given me the most hit points. And Wizards have the second highest starting hit points at 11. So clearly this isn't D&D. So the different stats: hit will aid you in combat tests, which involve rolling dice to achieve a certain threshold. Dex will aid you in dexterity tests. Wit will aid you in intellectual tests. Vigor's your health. XP is XP, and ENC is a spot to write the encounter if I pause and right, Anxious Doe? A wizard has the second highest starting HP. The lowest is Druid at 6. But you know what? I'm glad I rolled a 1 for the Bard, because I am always partial to bards. I love playing bards in D&D. And you know what? I am a musician and an artist. So let's do it. Let's pick Bard as our first crack at this. So we're going to update my character sheet accordingly. I need something heavy, actually, to hold down, because... All right, so... we're going to start with Bard. All right, so my hit is 2. My dex is 1. I don't know, whatever gave you that impression, Anxious Doe. I mean, whatever do you mean? Wit is 1. Vigor is 8. XP 0, and ENC, that just stays there for now. Okay. All right, so without further ado, we've got set up let's begin, because that's all the setup we have to do. Let's go. We have the rules and everything in the back. So we're going to start with encounter number 1. You dream you are in a chapel. Small, high-pitched voices sing an ancient song. You draw in the scent of stone and incense, yet a sense of unease washes over you. The comforting smell is a veil. The core is more macabre. Dream yields to waking confusion. A grave, dust, bones and dried death, a flickering torch, underground, a crypt. A wild Ethan. In the near darkness, you remember nothing. Not even your name. You wait, listening for anything to provide answers. Nothing. The flesh of your arm aches. You touch it. Leathery. A rough, tumor-like growth covers your forearm. The weak torchlight sparkles from its surface as if from a wound, yet it feels dry. The flesh around it throbs as if infiltrated by a stealthy, spreading infection. You catch a wisp of a breeze, heavy with the stench of rot. You gag, yet a breeze suggests a way out. You take the torch, determined to get out of here alive. Now that is the intro encounter. Then we have all the setup, and then we proceed. The directions say, continue to encounter 2. You stumble out of the crypt and immediately trip on your weak legs, sending a few skulls clattering into the darkness as you fall prone into the ground. Suddenly, a rat hisses into your face. So, I have 2 options. The first option gives me the opportunity to try hitting the rat. So the rules for hitting are on the next page. If I succeed in hitting the rat, I gain 1 XP. If I fail, I lose 1 HP as the rat gnaws on me. The second simply directs me to proceed to the next encounter. So, my options are to either attack the rat or to just not get up and flee and move on to encounter number 3. So, the way that attacking works is, so the rules for hit tests. Hitting is a test of whether you can roll at least 1 die greater than or equal to a threshold in order for you to defeat a foe in combat. For example, the test hit at 2 in Encounter 2 translates to test your hit skill at level 2, which means that you need to roll a 2 or higher. Your character's hit statistic indicates the number of dice that you get to roll. For example, a wizard with a hit of 1 would roll 1 die, while a warrior with a hit of 2 would roll 2 dice. Certain items allow you to manipulate the dice after you rolled them. If at least 1 rolled die equals or exceeds the target threshold, you succeed. Otherwise, you fail. So, because I have a hit of 2, it means I roll 2d6s. And if either one of them is 2 or higher, I succeed in killing the rat. So, I figure, okay, the bard has 2 d6s, and I need to get a 2 or higher. I think I'm going to try to attack the rat and see what happens. So I'm going to roll 2 d6s, and I am going to see if I attack the rat. We have a 4 and a 6. I am successful. So I gain 1 HP. Hooray! 1 HP on the board. And so now that I have successfully done that, I now move to encounter number 3. You enter a tunnel of rough-hewn rock alternating with bricks. Slippery goo drips down the walls. Your torchlight glistens from a bit of metal wedged into the rocks. Examining it, you see a key. I have two options. The first option offers me the opportunity to pull the slippery key from the rocks. If I succeed, I gain an item, which is the crypt pass key. If I fail, there are no consequences. So for this particular test, I have to roll. So the dex here is a 4, so I have to roll a 4 or higher. Now there are rules for dex tests. Now normally, so with the dexterity test, you have to actually flick dice at other dice. But given my limited space here on the desk, there are alternative rules for doing that. So normally I would stack 2 d6s, and then I'd place a third d6 4 inches away from the target, and I would then flick the die with my finger toward the target. My goal is to strike the target with the flicked die without knocking the top die off the stack. My dex statistic indicates the number of attempts that I get. So my dex would be 1, and so I would only have I'd only have 1 crack at it. However, there are alternative rules for dexterity tests, which I'm going to do. When you face a dexterity test, add your dex to the number of ward tags. Subtract your karma tags. If the result is greater than or equal to the level of the dexterity test, you succeed. So I have a dex of 1. I have no ward tags, and I have no karma tags. So my result is greater to or equal to the level of the dexterity test. So because my dex is 1, I would fail this test. But you know what? I think I can make some room, give it a try. There are no consequences. This is clearly one that they intend for you to fail, so let's stack it up here. I've got 2 d6s. This will be my stack. And I will place I'll place my d6, my other d6, 4 inches away. I actually have a tape measure here, so 4 inches. Right there. Okay. So now I have to flick this. And I have to strike the target with the flicked die without knocking the top d6 off the stack. Alright. And I only got 1 crack at it. So, wish I had a second camera so you could see this. Absolutely not. That was too much flick. So nothing happens. I do not gain the crypt key. Proceed to encounter 4. As you creep through the tunnel, you observe a metal door built into the wall beside you. The door is half your height, about as tall as a wee folk, such as the goblins who live in the mountains or the gnomes in the forests of this magic world. Teg. A massive bar crosses the door, sealed with a padlock the size of your fist, or, to a wee folk, 2 fists. If your character is a druid or a wizard, you also notice that you have a crystalline tooth in your pocket. Gain the item of the crystalline tooth and refer to the Arcana Appendix for details. Now I have 2 options below. The first option, if I had the crypt key, offers me the opportunity to unlock the door, provided that I have the item. Items are not used up unless the Arcana Appendix indicates that they are single use. If you can unlock the door and you decide to do so, go immediately to encounter E8. If you lack the item, there are no failure consequences, just go to the next option. So I do not have the option. I do not have the key. So I am going to proceed along the tunnel, and we go to encounter 5. The cavern divides. 2 arches extend over the openings, each etched with barely visible runes not written in the common tongue. The darkness beyond one or both openings echoes with the sound of rushing water and, unless your imagination lies to you, a soft buzz. I have 3 options here. The first option is starting with a wit of 4, offers me the opportunity to decipher the runes. If I succeed, immediately turn to the indicated encounter rather than continuing with the other options. If you choose not to use the first option, or if you fail the first option's test, then continue to the second or third options. These allow you to proceed to the left or the right tunnel. Okay, so I have a wit of 2. So that means I have 2 dice, 2d6s, and I need to roll a 4 or higher. Okay, so well, actually, my mistake. Wit works a bit differently. So wit is a test of whether you can put a specified number of dice in a sequence. So this example, wit at 4, in Encounter 5, asks me to roll 4 dice and manipulate them into a sequence such as 1, 2, 3, 4, or 2, 3, 4, 5, or 3, 4, 5, 6. Roll the indicated number of dice. You get wit actions to then manipulate the dice into a sequence. Any sequence is acceptable. So, a hero with a wit of 2 gets 2 actions. A hero with a wit of 1 gets to perform only 1 action. I may choose from the actions below. You may choose an action more than once if your character has sufficient wit to do multiple actions. So, I have a wit of 2, which means I can do 2 of the following actions. I can re-roll a die, I can flip 1 die, or I can increase 1 die by 1. If you manipulate the dice into sequence with your allowed number of actions, then you succeed. If you fail to manipulate the dice into sequence with your allowed number of actions, then you fail. So. Alright, so now I have to roll 4d6. Why not? This one, there's a no consequence for fail. So I'm going to roll 4 dice and see if I can basically roll a small straight, if you're familiar with Yahtzee. But unlike Yahtzee, I don't get 3 attempts to do it. All right, so let's see what we get. I rolled a 1, 2, 4, and 5. So, that is just all right. However, with my 2 actions, I want to see if I have a 1, 2, 4, 5. So, let's see. Okay. All right, so let me just, using the example here, if I roll 2, 3, 3, 6, I get 2 actions, so I can increase or flip a 3, which means my dice are now 2, 3, 4, 6, then flip the 2. Okay. I see what they're saying. So. I see what, so since I have 2 actions, I'm going to take that one that I rolled, and I'm going to increase the die by 1, so now it's 2, 2, 4, 5. And then with my second wit action, I'm going to take that 2 that I just made, and now turn that into a 3, which now means I have made the sequence of 2, 3, 4, 5, which means I have now deciphered the runes. So, with that, the success means I go to encounter 33. So that 1, 2, 4, 5 worked out in my favor. Excellent. 33. The runes are a mixture of 2 languages. Older, more eroded symbols are a gnomish script with a rhyming chant to ward off danger. Gain 1 ward tag. Scrawled beneath these is newer graffiti in a gobblish script with runes for water and down on the left-hand tunnel. The right-hand tunnel's runes indicate beast training and down. So this is a decision. I can either go down the left-hand tunnel labeled water and down, or go to E22, which goes down the right-hand tunnel labeled beast training and down. So, I think I am leaning toward water and down at the moment, as I am very unarmed. Beast training does not sound like my idea of fun, but, you know, that's just me. But the bot is telling me to drink, so I'm going to drink. I think I am going to take the water route here, so let's do that. So let's go back. Let's go to E11. You enter the left-hand tunnel. A wet wind rushes against your face. Perhaps this is the source of the breeze that you felt in the crypt. The tunnel wall to your right recedes, and the floor falls away in that direction. You hear a dripping pool of water somewhere in the inky darkness as you edge along, testing your footing. The path grows slick and steeply slopes downward. I can either continue along this path or retreat to the other tunnel. If I do, it is another dex check. This would be a dex of 3. So I can once again do the... I can do... Well, if I use the if I had the alternative rules, I'd fail. So I mean, either way, let's give it a shot. So this is a dex of 3, which means I again only get 1 crack at this. So let's stack up the 2 dice. I just had my tape measure. There we are, 4 inches. Let's try this again. This time, do not flick quite so hard. And go. Now, even with a lighter flick, that still was a nope. So that fails. So we go to E19. You lose your footing and slide off the floor into the darkness. Jagged rocks slash your body as you plummet down a steep grade over an incredible distance. Finally, your descent is arrested suddenly at the bottom of the rocky slide, your body slashed and beaten as you fall face first into a pool of frigid water. Submerged, you see no light and thrash around you until you somehow find the surface. You desperately fill your lungs with air. Above, the chamber's high ceiling rises into inky blackness. Lose 3 vigor. Yeah, I kind of had a feeling that might have been the case, so now we're down to 5. Okay. There is no decision. The waters sweep you forward. Go to encounter 21. Shocked by the cold water, you can't fight a strong current that sweeps you into the dark distance. Your torch is long gone, but you find yourself washed into a dark tunnel lit by other torches. The water starts to pour through grates in the floor, becoming only waist deep, and you find that you can stand. An opening in the wall beckons ahead, but as you push forward through the dark waters, you notice 2 glistening flickers in the torchlight. Eyes? They approach. A reptilian head glides by your side, swivels and turns toward you for a second pass. A hiss whistles through the tunnel. An edible snake? Something you could prepare by torch fire? Perhaps, if you don't become dinner first. I can attack and eat the snake, or I can just grab a fresh torch and exit via the opening in the tunnel. If I attempt to attack, I have a hit at 5, which means with my 2 hit dice, I have to roll a 5 or higher. Those aren't necessarily good odds. That means I've got a 4 out of 12 shot. I have a 33% chance. I don't like those odds, quite frankly. So I think because if I am successful, I gain 2 HP back, but if I fail, I lose 1 HP. I think for now, I'm going to if I had full health, then maybe, but I don't like those odds. So let's go to E15. I'll just grab a fresh torch and exit via the opening in the tunnel. So we'll go to E15. Passing through the opening, you find yourself in a short tunnel. Ascending proves treacherous, as a mysterious goo lines the floor. The tunnel rises for a while, then descends again into a cavern so large that darkness swallows the ceiling. More goo, reeking with an overpowering stench of minerals and rotten meat, inches down the walls into rough-hewn trenches along the floor. The same goo flows into a wide pool surrounded by steep but shallow sides. A glowing orb floats with lavender light atop the black ooze. The wall ahead has a gap, indicating an exit from the room. So I do not have the orb. I can try to grab the orb, which is another dex check. Or I could just ignore the orb. I mean, my 2 dex checks so far have been massive failures, so, I can either, I can just ignore it. I can't do the first option because I don't have the item that is required for this encounter, so, you know what? Let's try it again. Maybe my flicking skills will get a get better. Oh, I've been doing that wrong. So for the dex, it says the dex is at 5. So the at 5 means I place the die I'm flicking X number of inches from the target. So I'm moving this 5 inches away from the stack. Okay. So let's do that. Here. 5 inches away. My handy tape measure. All right. Let's maybe not quite so lucky. All right, here we go. Nope. I didn't hit the stack, but I whiffed entirely. And I think a whiff is a fail. If your first try knocks the target step over, restart. Okay. So, and I only have one attempt at it. So it's a fail. So I go to encounter 24. You bend over the pool and barely touch the orb. It bobs and scoots away from you. Reaching further, you lose your balance and reflexively thrust a hand into the dark stench and cold muck below. Before you can pull your arm out, a surge of ache floods your body. The orb bobs further away, now well out of reach. Gain 1 karma tag. Man, I should just... That's the 3rd dex test that I have failed, so I think I should probably just not do any dexes unless I absolutely have to. Gain 1 karma tag and then leave the room. Go to encounter 35. As you leave the chamber, you slip in a gooey patch of the tunnel, staggering against the wall, and stumble right through it as if it were a mirage. You find yourself in a chamber adorned with splendid objects. At the center of the room lays the skeleton of an alligator, sparkling slightly. Gems, swords, and gold coins shimmer in an enormous heap. As you approach the pile, the alligator skeleton suddenly begins to rise. It rasps and rattles. Sharp teeth and claws glisten with a yellow hue in the light reflected by the gold. You look back and find that the wall is thickly covered with goo. The only obvious exits are window-like openings beyond the skeleton. So I can choose to fight, in which I would have to do, again, a hit of 5. So, again, I have my 2 hit dice, so I need a 5 or higher, so, again, a 33% chance. I could try to do a dex to brush past the alligator skeleton. It's a dex of 3. Or I can search the gooey wall behind you for an opening so that I can reverse course. You know what? My dexes have been failures, so let's just try to hit the fucker. All right. Let's try to hit the fucker. So, 2 hit dice. I need... Either one of them needs a 5 or higher. Here we go. Oh, a 1 and a 4. So that's a fail. Go to E12. The alligator sweeps your feet with its tail. As you fall, it snaps its rasping jaws against your throat and face. You attempt to shove it off, but your hands slip among the bones of the ribcage where the lungs should be. Meanwhile, the beast's claws slice into your belly. Fortunately, the pile of gold suddenly slips like a landslide, flowing toward the window-like exits. You pour into the quarter beyond, but the mighty beast doesn't fit through the opening and remains on the other side. You find yourself lying in a big puddle of coins. Lose 5 HP, which is going to kill me. And that is going to kill my character. I died and I have lost, and roll new character. So that puts an end to the bard. All right. So that is first attempt number 1. Well, that is, well, of course it'd be first attempt number 1. Attempt number 1. So again, I restart from the beginning with a new character. So I lose everything except my unspent experience points. So I gained 1 experience. So what do I do with that? All right. He died as he lived, failing dex checks. Okay. So if I die, you may restart from the beginning. Create a new character as directed by Encounter 1. Transfer all XP from your dead character to your new character. Except for XP, your new character starts with no name, items, tags, or anything else. Okay. You may then spend XP of your new character to purchase the following upgrades. You may purchase each upgrade no more than once. Retain any unspent XP with your new character. So, I acquired 1 XP during that, and I can spend that 1 XP to give me +2 vigor for my next character, 1 ward tag, or an item PFS. What is PFS? Potion of Fiery Spirit. This is a single-use item. When facing a wit, dex, or hit test, you may use this item and lose 1 ward tag. You must decide whether to sip the potion before you conduct the test. If you use this item, temporarily boost your applicable character statistic by 2 for this test only. Okay. So, we're going to take that XP and we're going to decide based on the new character. All right, so back to the beginning here. Let's roll new character. But for those of you who are listening or who's watching, what did you think of that first? What do you think of the game so far? Because you are again experiencing this for the first time, just as I am. This time it's a 1 and a 5, so another bard, or I could go with the warrior, which has better dex but less wit. But you know what? I was just a bard this first go around, so let's go with a warrior this time. So this time the hit is 2, the dex is 2, the wit is 1, starting vigor is 8. Zero, and you go back to 0. So I have 1 XP to spend. I can choose to either spend it or not. It'll just carry over. So as I said, so I can spend that 1 XP to gain 2 vigor or get a ward tag or get one of those potions of fiery spirits. Or if I have 2 XP, I could gain +1 hit or 1 dex or 1 wit, or a potion that would get rid of my karma and boost my vigor. And if I had 4 XP to spend, I would gain basically a magical disguise. So I think for this one, then, I think I'd like to spend my 1 to bump up my vigor by 2. I'll give him a starting HP of 10. Yes, flicking dice for dex checks was actually that's a very interesting mechanic. So, all right. So XP then will go down to 0 for this. Now that I've spent it. Okay. So, now that we know a little bit of what we're doing, let me take a quick drink and just remind everyone out there that this is a charity stream for the Trevor Project, which is an organization that provides critical help and resources and counseling for LGBTQ youth. Incredibly important thing to have, to give queer kids a safe space, especially with what the fuck our administration is doing. So if you're able to donate, the link just showed up there in the chat. If you can contribute, much appreciated. If you can't, I understand. All I ask is that you spread the word. I'm doing giveaways again for every $100 that we raise. And if we get to $200 tonight, the giveaway is going to be this set of large, this large set of dice, of D&D dice. And just to give you, again, a scale for size. So. All right. Let's start this again. You dream you are in a chapel. Small, high-pitched voices sing an ancient song. You draw in the scent of stone and incense. Yet a set of unease washes through you. The comforting smell is a veil. The core is more macabre. Dream yields to waking confusion. A grave, dust, bones and dried death. A flickering torch. Underground. A crypt. In the near darkness, you remember nothing. Not even your name. You wait, listening for anything to provide answers. Nothing. The flesh of your arm aches. You touch it, leathery. A rough tumor-like growth covers your forearm. The weak torchlight sparkles from its surface as if from a wound, yet it feels dry. The flesh around it throbs as if infiltrated by a stealthy, spreading infection. You catch a wisp of a breeze, heavy with the stench of rot. You gag. Yet a breeze suggests a way out. You take the torch, determined to get out of here alive. And we'll just go right to E2. You stumble out of the crypt and immediately trip on your weak leg, sending a few skulls clattering into the darkness as you fall prone to the ground. Suddenly, a rat hisses into your face. All right, so this time, again, we have a hit dice of 2. The rat has an HP of 2, so I will roll 2 hit dice. I'll roll 2 d6s. If I roll a 2 or higher, we have a success. Barely. It was a 1 and a 2, but the 2 is enough. I will gain 1 XP. E3. So this is, again, you enter a tunnel of rough-hewn rock, alternating with bricks. Slippery goo drips down the walls. Your torchlight glistens from a bit of metal wedged into the rocks. Examining it, you see a key. So I can do the dex check again. This time I would have 2 attempts at it. So let's try it. So again, we'll stack up 2 dice. And this is a dex at 4, so 4 inches away. So, attempt number 1. Will I suck again? All right. First one was a whiff. Second one. Second one hits, and the top die is there. It hit the bottom one, so like the top one is kind of like half hanging over it. So we have a success. So I gain the crypt. I gain the crypt key. So in the items, we gain a crypt pass key 1. Hooray! We had a successful dex. The bard sucked, but apparently the warrior is a bit more deft. All right, so we move to E4. As you creep through the tunnel, you observe a metal door built into the wall beside you. The door is half your height, about as tall as a wee folk, such as the goblins who live in the mountains or the gnomes of the forest in this magic world, Teg. A massive bar crosses the door, sealed with a padlock the size of your fist, or to a wee folk the size of 2 fists. My character is not a druid or a wizard, but I have the key. Is this item a single-use item? This is not a single-use item, because the Arcana Appendix would actually specify if it was single-use. So this time I have the key, so I'm going to unlock the door. We go right to E8. It takes a bit of jimmying and jiggling, but at last you get the padlock open. Expecting the little door's hinges to be old and rusty, you pull it hard and find that it pops open easily. The tiny room behind the door was apparently pressurized, as a blast of air hits your face with an audible whoosh. This air carries a black mist similar to the goo that entirely covers the walls, ceiling, and floor of the tiny room beyond this door. This mist blasts onto your arms and face as the door pops open. The goo bonds to your skin. Its surface strongly resembles the strange tumor on your arm, and you feel a similar ache wherever the goo has touched you. Gain 1 karma tag. So how karma works in this game is it is something that you may have more than 1 karma tag. For each karma tag you have, it increases the likelihood that you will experience evil fate. So we gain 1 karma, and I also, for opening the door, gain an additional XP. So now we're up to 2. So already the run is starting off a bit more promising than our poor bard. Try to avoid the gooey black ooze in the future. Go to encounter 5. Alright, so now we leave the room and we head back to the cavern, which divides. 2 arches extend over the openings, each etched with barely visible runes not written in the common tongue. Darkness beyond one or both openings echoes with the sound of rushing water, and unless your imagination lies to you, a soft buzz. So we have 3 options. I can either decipher the runes, and so knowing that the left goes to water, the right goes to beast training, we know that we'll go to the right-hand tunnel. So go to encounter 22. You step into the right-hand tunnel. Arcing, it becomes a spiraling ramp down with a space to your right. As you proceed, the space widens into a vast gulf, revealing a massive chamber. The spiraling ramp hugs the wall of the chamber. You creep downward. The buzzing pauses. Torchlight moves along the floor of the chamber, astonishingly far beneath you. You hear voices echoing below. I can do a wit of 3 to search for a dark area of the ramp and hide for a while. Or, with a dex of 2, quietly continue down the ramp. So, I'm either hiding or I'm stealthily going down the ramp. So the wit, again, it would be that I need to make a sequence. But I only get one action after I roll for wit. So I'm rolling, if I choose the wit, I'm rolling 3 dice, and I have to make a numerical sequence. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. And I only have one action to do it. So either way, if I fail either the wit or the dex, it leads to the same encounter. The only question is, do I want to hide or do I want to stealth down? It's an interesting conundrum. If I do the dex, I'd have to flick from 2 inches away. Decisions. And the ambient music stopped, so let's reload that. Okay. Ooh. Now, this guy's a warrior. He's probably going to, discretion being the better part of valor and whatnot. So let's do a wit. Let's do a wit roll. So again, I need to roll a sequence, and I have one action after the sequence is rolled to see what happens. Rather than just leaning over every time I do this, let's just adjust so that I can actually see the dice rather than having to lean over that. All right, here we go. 2, 4, 5. Oh, that works out in my favor because I can just use my one action to take that 2 and increase it to 3, giving me my action. So that is a success. So, we go to encounter 53. You pause quietly for what seems like a very long time. Afraid to peer out where you might be seen, you hide yourself, but remain tense in case of a fight. Voices echo, then gradually fade. You're alone with the boxes. Go to encounter 61. Runes annotate the boxes stacked near the bottom of the ramp. On the opposite side of the large chamber, a small set of stairs leads to a single arch. But before you have more than a moment to rest, voices echo far above, with the sound of numerous feet shuffling down the ramp toward the chamber. I can either do another wit roll to decipher the runes, I can hide behind the boxes, I can prepare to fight whoever is coming, or I can dash up the stairs and into the arch. I got 4 options here. Ha! So the wit would be a wit of 3 again. So I'd have to, again, do what I just did and roll a 3 in sequence. I can hide, fight, or run up the stairs into the arch. Ooh, 4 possibilities here. But you know what? I am going to let fate decide this one. So I'm just going to roll just a single d6. And I'm just going to do it in order. I'll just roll 1 through 4. I know I could do a d4, but my dice bag is over there and all I've got are d6s. I don't want to roll that big, huge d4 that I've got over there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I get a 5 or 6, I'll just roll again. So let's see. Let fate decide. Option 2. Just hide behind the boxes. Let's do that. Go to encounter 57. You tuck yourself behind a big crate. The room fills with voices, and red-capped wee-folk carry boxes away. Most have left the room when a particularly large red cap starts to grab your crate and seize you. He shouts. A partner showers himself with sparkling dust and transforms into a large beast resembling a wolf. They leap at you. I only have one option here. I have to defend myself. So I have to roll 2 dice. So this is a hit test. It's a hit at 4. So I need to roll a 4 or higher on 2 dice. It is the only option I've got. So here we go. 4 or higher. A 1 and a 4. We have a success. Success, go to encounter 69. Nice. You defeat your foes. In one of their tunics, you find a map fragment which indicates that the path through the arch leads to a higher level and an exit. Gain item TMF. A tunnel map fragment. So we'll add that to the items. Yeah, so far so good here. This is unusual. But I'm also having a blast here. I hope you are too. All right, so if we proceed through the arch, you got to encounter 70. The arch opens to a sinuous tunnel. A grinding sound grows in the air with some crushing mixed in. You arrive at a wall with 3 closed doors. The first door is the source of the grinding sound. The next has a red cap hanging outside. The third is a small double door. I have 5 options here. 69, as we all know, the best of encounters. Oh, yes. There are 5 options here. I can use the tunnel map fragment. I can do a dex check. So I can open each door slightly to peek. That would be a dex at 4. I can either enter door number 1 to the grinding sound, door number 2 past the hanging cap, or enter door number 3, the small double door. And suddenly I feel like I'm on Let's Make a Deal. Well, I've got the map fragment. I have it. It's not a one-time use, obviously. So let's just go to encounter 75. You discover that the first door leads to a massive machine for grinding bones, and then to a passage. The red-capped second door goes to a room with 20 beds for sleeping guards, and the third to a closet for storing weapons. Roll 1 die. If you roll less than or equal to your wit, gain 1 XP. So I have to roll less than or equal to my wit. So I have to roll a 1. Okay. I rolled a 5. I am not gaining an extra XP. All right, so with the map, I have 3 options. I can enter the machine room, I can enter the guard's sleeping room, or enter the weapons storage closet. So, well, I'm glad, Anxious Stowe. I'm glad that this is relaxing for you. All right, so this is, once again, I'm going to let fate decide this one. So this time we have 3 options, so we're going to just balance it out. I'll do 1 to 2 is the machine room, 3 and 4 is the guard's sleeping room, and the weapons storage closet. Actually, hang on a minute. Maybe I'm not going to let fate decide. The weapons storage closet sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty good, actually. So before I enter a machine room or guard sleeping room, actually, let's see if I can find maybe there's a better weapon. So actually, fuck fate. We're gonna go to the weapon storage closet. Let's go to encounter 80. Opening the small double door reveals a closet containing a rack of swords, axes, and a shield. Gain items, weapon, and shield. So let's see what the weapon does. During a hit test, this item allows you to raise one die by 1. Remember, unless otherwise indicated, you may only have one of each tag or item. In particular, you only may have one weapon. So, I have a weapon. Which means that now raises my hit die by... raise one die by 1. So, for example, if I rolled a 3 on a hit 4, that is a success. So I'm going to just jot that down. So, weapon. Which increases... one die by 1. And we have a shield. This item reduces your harm from enemies. Specifically, each time the encounter states that a living creature causes you to lose 3 or more vigor, then you lose 1 fewer vigor. So there's 3 examples here. If an encounter... So the encounter specifically states that it's... If I take damage from a living... If I take from a sentient being. So it says if an encounter states that you lose 3 vigor because a horse tramples you, you actually lose 2 instead. But if you fall into a furnace and you lose 12 vigor, you still lose 12 vigor. The shield ain't going to protect you from that. And then the last example is suppose an encounter states that you roll a die and lose 5 vigor from a troll if you roll too low, and then you roll a second time and lose another 5 vigor from the troll. In this case, because the encounter had 2 occasions for losing vigor from the troll, you'd lose 4 vigor and 4 vigor. So instead of 10, you'd lose 8. So we're going to add that to my items as well. Reduce damage by 1 from sentient. From, living beings. From living. Okay. Excellent. Very good. All right. So right now, this warrior is I lost my place. Hold on. Proceed to the arch, 70. We check for guidance, a 75. We entered the storage closet, go to 80. Okay. So we gained the 2 items. So now we're back to the 2 options. Enter door number 1 to the grinding sound, or enter door number 2 past the hanging cap. So to the bone grinding section, or to the what looks like the sleeping quarters for the guards. So let's this now I will let fate decide. So 1 through 3 will be the grinding sound, and 4 through 6 will be the hanging cap. This is a 5. We're going to go past the hanging cap. So go to encounter 86. The room contains a row of almost 24 beds, most occupied by sleepers. Other wee folks sit on their beds playing a dice game about raiding dungeons. At that moment, you remember part of your identity. You are a proficient dungeon crawler. Your team nicknamed you the Fox because of your ability to sneak in and out of fortified locations. Gain 1 XP and tag Fox. You may write Fox in your hero name, or may wait to recall your full name. 1 red cap begins turning to look in your direction. All right. So I should not have put anything in the name there. So we're going to gain Fox is the name. So for now, we gain 1 XP. Now we're up to 3. And we're going to add text for a Fox tag. Yeah, cool. So yes, 1 red cap begins turning to look in my direction. I've got three options here, although one of them is item specific, and I don't think I have the item. No, I don't. The one option requires the Mask of Durable Impersonation. So I cannot use that one, which means I have 2 options. The red cap looks in my direction. I can either charge and attack, or I can quickly close the door and get on with investigating the grinding sound. You know what? So far, so good. I'm not going to go in, they're all playing a dice game about raiding dungeons. I'm not going to go in and cause a ruckus. I'm not going to go in there like Sir Lancelot from Monty Python and the Holy Grail and just start slinging my sword around, waving it around like it's my big dick or something. So let's do that. Let's close this door and get on with the investigation. Let's go check the grinding noise. So we're going to encounter 47. You open the door to reveal a small room almost entirely filled with a single machine. A crew of wee folk is processing corpses stacked in the corner. You gag as one worker slices bodies into pieces. A second worker stabs bits of organ, muscle, and brain on a stick, then drops them into a massive sluice where they slide along a chute. Meanwhile, a third loads the bones into the machine, which grinds them into a sparkling powder collected in a bag. Gain 1 XP. Oh, we are just... wow. Two workers notice you and exchange a comment. I have 3 options here, but I cannot use the first because it once again requires that Mask of Durable Impersonation, so I cannot use that one. So I have 2 options here. The first is a dex at 2, jump past them to dive into the sluice, or one is a hit of 3, slay the workers. That is a hit of 3, which means that's a hit of 2. I can do a hit. So that's a hit of 2. That's a 2 or higher on 2 hit dice. I like those odds, actually. So let's do it. 2 hit dice, 2 or higher. Sure. One and a 6, so that works. So that's a success. So I can either walk out of the room and go to the opposite passage, or I can exit via the sluice. The sluice. And so I can do that. So let's exit the opposite passage. So let's go to 91. Past the machine room, you wind through a short series of tunnels. They lead to a large chamber where your tunnel meets two others with 6 glowing tablets at the center. Moths, emitting a pink light, flit around through the air. If I have 2 or more karma tags, go immediately to encounter 72. Otherwise, choose from the options below. So, I still have that map frag. I cannot, can I use that first option? No. The first option requires something called the Shining Jewel Amulet of Clarity. So that's a no. Can't do that. I do have the map, so I can get some guidance. Let's go to, let's do that since I have the map. E89. The map fragment labels this chamber as the History Room, with Karma Guardians indicated in small text beside a moth image. The left tunnel is labeled as Collapsed with a warning symbol. The right leads to a lockout door and eventual exit. Gain 1 ward tag. So I cannot do the first item. I cannot do the first thing because I don't have the item. It's examine the karma moths. So I can do a wit, which means I attempt to read the history tablets. I can try a dex of 6. Attempt to capture a karma moth, so I would be flicking a die from 6 inches away. I can either proceed to go to the left collapsed tunnel, or I can go to the right tunnel, proceed to the right tunnel and exit. So, if I try the wit option and I fail, nothing happens. I'm just then have my remaining options. So, since that is a no consequences, let's try a wit. So, it's a wit of 4. So I need to roll in sequence. 4 die in sequence, and I have 1 action, depending on what the result is. So let's try it. 2, 3, 3, 3. Even with my 1 action, yeah, I can't do anything with that. That's I rolled 3 of a kind with an extra 2. So me changing dice numbers around won't do anything there. So that's a fail. So I will not be reading the history tablets. I don't know if I want to attempt to capture a karma moth. That's flicking a die from 6 inches away. Although, actually, that's another one that has no fail. So that's another, if I miss, I miss. There's nothing happens. Which then I would just have my options of left or right. So E89. So let's set up from 6 inches away. And I have 2 cracks at it. Where's my handy-dandy non-pollutionary tape measure? There we are. This time we are going from 6 throbbing inches away here. It's a lot of inches there. Have a drink. Okay. All right. It's a dex check, and I have a dex of 2, which means I have 2 cracks at this. So here we go. From 6 inches away. That feels like miles away at this point. All right, here we go. Attempt number 1. Oh, I almost hit it. That won't work. Not this time. All right, attempt number 2. And that missed entirely. So that's a fail. So I don't read the history tablets, nor do I attempt to capture the karma moth. Do I go down the left collapsed tunnel, or do I just go to the right tunnel and exit? You know what? So far, our warrior has managed to dodge this a whole lot of shit. So you know what? I do not want to. I've played enough dungeon crawlers and enough Resident Evil 4 and to realize you don't go, if you see something that has a warning symbol on it, don't. So I'm just going to go to the right tunnel. So let's go to Encounter 44. The corridor continues to a massive door with a spring. As you push against it, you find that your arm with the tumor has grown weaker. The door opens to an enormous torch-lit room and then closes and latches after you pass through. You see no obvious handle on this side. A glowing purple symbol in the shape of a jewel surrounded by a hand indicates where to press upon it for re-entry. You see a few similar doors lining the massive room. Lacking a jewel hand key thing, you have no immediate means of opening any of these doors. The room has many tables and benches, perhaps used for eating or to seat audiences for speeches. A single broad corridor leads out of the room, and you hear sounds and the smell of food in the distance. Laughter echoes into this enormous space, along with gobblish voices. A group is approaching. I have 4 options here. The warning symbol is how you find the lab. How are you going to run to a tyrant otherwise? Exactly. You know, I've got 10 HP. I could have done that. But I got 4 options here, but I cannot do the first option because, again, it requires that mask of that disguise. The second thing I don't think I can do because that requires another item that I do not believe I possess. Which I do not. The second option requires a pigeon familiar. So that leaves me with options 3 and 4, which means do a dex test to hide under a table. And then option 4, if I fail the dex test, is to prepare to fight whomever appears. So the dex test is a free attempt. Again, if I fail, then I just get ready to fight. So, this is a dex of 2 inches away. And I have 2 cracks at it. Alright, there we are. 2 inches. Alright, attempt number 1. Oh, just missed it. Second attempt. That is a success. It just barely touched, which does count. Alright, hide under a table. Success. Go to encounter 58. You snuff your torch and tuck yourself under a table and watch as the room steadily fills with dozens of red-capped wee folk resembling goblins. They sit and begin eating loudly, tossing bones on the floor and chortling as they grow steadily more drunk. However, the room is so massive that none of them are near to you, and you very easily remain hidden. Eventually, they start to filter out of the room. I have 3 options. I can leap from cover and slay those remaining. I can wait for everyone to leave, or with a dex of 5, attempt to follow a red cap who leaves via a door using a jewel embedded in one of his palms? Ooh, that sounds promising. So a dex of 5. There is a risk of failure here. This is not this is not an option where if I fail, then nothing happens. So, a dex of 5, but, you know, he's got a jewel embedded in one of the palms. And right now, it doesn't appear that I have any way to leave this room except via that. So, you know what? Let's try it. Let's give it a shot. So we're going once again. Now we're going from 5 inches away. Reset my dice stack. And we're going from 5 inches away. Not much better. Okay, here we go. Attempt number 1. Attempt number 1 was a bit too rough. I'd knocked over the stack entirely. So, second and final attempt from 5 inches away. Okay. Second attempt. Second attempt misses, so we have failed. All right, go to E85. You follow the red cap into a narrow corridor with an arch to the side and a door at the end. Unfortunately, he notices you, despite being obviously drunk. He yelps, "You're not supposed to be in here!" and lashes a fist out at you. Turn and flee back out the door, or defend myself. You know what? I'll defend myself. Go to E92. The red capped, unarmed and drunk, doesn't put up much of a fight. You beat him senseless. I can use the weapon that I acquired to sever his hand, or, well, no, there's nothing happened. Okay, so with the item, with the weapon, since I have it, I cut off his hand, and I gained his jeweled hand. So RHJ. Red cap hand jewel. This item, consisting of a beautiful jewel embedded in a disgusting severed hand, unlocks certain options. So we gained that item now. All right, so we did that. So we gain that item, and then I hear a noise. Go to encounter 93. Watscom? Is that you? Before you can move, you hear a voice from the tall arch to your right. A strange being, not a redcap, but another with an unnaturally long tongue, emerges. His piercing eyes see you, and his tongue moves like a whip, hissing an incantation. Your tumorous arm swells tremendously, and you fear it may explode. I can do a dex check, a dex test to flee down the corridor. I can try to subdue this strange being, or I can flee back to the enormous room. You know what? This guy is muttering something at me. I'm going to try to attack it. It is a hit. It's in the book of a hit at 5. But with my weapon, I can... If I roll a 4, that would be a success. So I like those odds. So I basically have 50-50 odds here. Per die. So, you know what? I'll take those odds. It's a coin flip. All right, So 4 or higher on 2d6s. They're both 5s, so a success. Subdue this strange being. Success. Go to encounter 98. You smack the Ancient One back through the arch. He hits his head on the wall and sinks slowly to the ground. Taking a few steps into the room reveals desks and cabinets full of other glassware and alchemical tools. The tome in your foe's hands is a recipe book for a potion. You may spend 1 XP to ponder the purpose of the potion. If you do, gain item PFS, which I believe is that potion of fiery spirit. It is a single-use item. I've got 4 XP here. So yeah, actually I'm going to spend 1 XP to gain that potion of fiery spirit. So we're going to bring that down to 3. And we're going to add another item. Potion of Fiery Spirit. Single use. So before I continue, I just want to let you guys know that I am getting near the end of my 8-hour streamathon. So this will be the last call for donations for my campaign to raise money for the Trevor Project. Let me just put that link back right in the chat there. So, last call for today, but I will be back tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and I'm going to be starting with the platforming game Celeste. So that is my plan for tomorrow. Thank you. If you have spent any time with me today, thank you so much for spending some of your Saturday with me. I hope you come back tomorrow, and I'm hoping that we continue to get more and more donations. Where again, we are a quarter of the way through our goal. But if you can contribute any amount toward my campaign, I would very, very much appreciate it. The Trevor Project is a super important cause to help queer youth, and it's something I wish that I knew about it when I was younger, when I was growing up and discovering my queer identity, and growing up in a house where it was very, very much not safe to do that. But yeah, so this will be the last call for tonight, as I will be streaming for until I either win or I die. And then I will be off and getting some rest for the night. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for the donations that have already come in. And yes. All right, so we gained the potion of Fiery Spirit. Down the corridor, the doorway opens and a teeming crowd of wee folk look out. "What's going on?" one of them shouts. I only have one option, and it's to do a dex. Sprint back out the corridor and hope to exit through the enormous room. So I have a success. It's either going to be a success or fail. So the dex is at 3. Although with my potion of Fiery Spirit, I can boost by 2 for this test only. So I would lose 1 ward tag to do it. So it's a dex of 3. I don't think. I mean, me and dex tests have now kind of been hit or miss. I've been having much more success. I hope so. I hope so, Anxious Doe. It's been quite a while since I've played it, so I fully expect to die horribly lots and lots of times. Speaking of dying horribly, that might be what's about to happen. So, we'll see. Where's the tape measure? There it is. All right. 3 inches. That's what she said. All right. Here we go. Attempt number 1. Just missed. Attempt number 2. And I fuck it up entirely. So fail! Go to E88. You beat aside the first foes that reach you, but their cries attract dozens more who stream toward you. Some punch, others kick, and a few throw things at you. Within minutes, you are bloodied and beaten down, yet the blows continue. At last, you sink into sweet oblivion as 2 heavy-set redcaps grab you by the shoulders. Lose 5 vigor, but with the shield, I will only lose 4. My luck had to run out at some point. If I have item, I do not have that item. If I have 2 or more karma tags, I only have the 1. Otherwise, wake up. Go to E6. You wake in a small cell behind a padlocked portcullis. Bones litter the ground. Moonlight streams between 2 bars in the ceiling. Every part of your body aches. You find that your foes have searched you. Lose all items except for any that have the numeral 1 in their name. Gain tag hunt. Whoa. So I lose... everything. Yeah. I lose everything except for the crypt pass key. Boop. 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 Wait a minute. Do I? Hold on. Yep. Everything that... lose all items except for any that have a numeral 1 in the name. For example, the crypt pass key, which is so small that I fortunately get to keep it. I gain tag hunt. Oh, that was... that was... I was wondering when my luck was going to run out, and it finally did. So I lost all my items except for the crypt pass key. So, do I happen to have the pass key? Which I do. So I go to E41. The other options, the other option would have been if I had the item called the PFA1, which is a pigeon familiar. And I won't tell you what the third option is, because it's not relevant. All right, so I have the passkey. Success, go to E41. You use your handy key on the padlock and lift the portcullis, thinking that it was probably a bad idea for the denizens of these crypts to have dropped such a valuable key. But it's, hopefully, the last time that you'll need it as you spy a door out of the building. One option and one option only. Flee. Go to encounter 100. You have exited what turns out to be an abandoned monastery. The morning star gleams green, low in the east and ready to welcome the imminent dawn. Gain tag Mesk and 1 XP. Back up to 4. All right, let me check these different tags here, because I could have been... Alright, so the Fox tag unlocks options. The Hunt tag, if you escape, you will be hunted. And then the Mesk tag. This tag indicates that you have escaped the monastery. Okay. Alright, so you gain Mesk at 1 XP. You've escaped the Red Cap Lair. If you have at least 6 XP or 6 Vigor, you may photocopy or photograph your character sheet to serve as a checkpoint. Hereafter, if you die, you may either lose everything you've gained, including XP, revert to a photocopied character and restart at Encounter 101, or, as usual, lose everything except XP, create a new character, spend XP to boost that character, and restart at E2. Interesting conundrum. I can either lose everything I gained, including... So if I die, I lose everything. I can revert to a photocopied character. Okay. So I am going to save this particular character. Well, I will screen cap it. So hold on a sec. We'll just save that. Since I had 6 Vigor. Yes. But anyway, so we've saved that. But I only have one option. It's not over yet. You need to cure your tumor. Go to Encounter 101. You slump, exhausted to your knees, reflecting on the terrors of the night. You may spend XP at this time to upgrade your statistics. Purchase any and all of the options below. Purchase each no more than once. So I have 4 XP. And for 2 XP, I can either increase my hit by 1, dex by 1, wit by 1, or gain 2 ward tags. If I spend 3, I gain 4 vigor. I'd go back up to full health. I feel like spending I think I've been getting by pretty well. I think I want to spend 3 to go back up to 10 vigor. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to go down to 1, and vigor will go back up to 10. Especially now that I am unarmed here. All right, and after that, resolve fills you. Go to Encounter 102. Half expecting that to say, you are filled with determination. Just as you feel a moment of renewed hope, a wave of sunlight crests the mountains to the east. It reaches across a broad plain of desolate moors and illuminates your body like a flare. A million pinpricks of pain flow over your skin everywhere the light touches you. Most of all on the tumor that now glows redly in the light. Pain radiates throughout your body, even where sunlight doesn't rake your skin. It burns along your spine, and you fall gasping into the shadow of the monastery. As you cower in darkness, the pain slowly subsides. Roll 1 die and subtract it from the number of karma tags. You may spend any number of ward tags to reduce the result by 1 each. If the final result is positive, lose that amount of vigor. Okay, so I only have 1 karma. So I have 1 karma. So roll 1 die and subtract it from the number of karma tags. If the final result is positive, lose that amount of vigor. All right, so because I only have 1 karma, this could wind up being nothing. So here we go. I rolled a 2. So 2 minus... So I have 1 karma. I'm subtracting 2 from that. It gives me, I'm in the negatives now, so I do not lose any health. I do not need to spend a ward tag to do that. Daylight has become a mortal enemy. Whatever you must do to survive and cure this tumor, it will need to happen primarily in darkness. And then you realize you're not alone. Go to encounter 103. Voices echo from inside the building, and then suddenly from a window somewhere far... Let me try that again. Voices echo from inside the building, and then suddenly from a window somewhere far above you, the main door of the building swings open partially. A voice calls out from within the building, and the door closes again. Nonetheless, through the door, you hear the fierce shouting of a small crowd. An argument, it seems. You hurriedly glance around, looking for options. Only one outbuilding of the monastery remains standing, a barn located close at hand. A forest hugs the south horizon, perhaps a mile away, a challenging distance to run through sunlight. I do not have the first there are 4 options here. I don't have the first. So to sit in the monastery's shade and do your best to act nonchalant, I don't have that option. I do a dex. The dex is there is no fail option. It's either success or nothing happens with that option. So if I then flop that, dex at 2, run to the barn to conceal myself, or the other 2 options, run for the distant forest before anyone exits and hope to find cover there from sunlight, or attack whomever exits the monastery. So, but first we'll do a dex. It's a dex of 2, and let's try to run to the barn to conceal myself. And I have 2 cracks at it. From 2 inches away. Well, the last time I had a 2-incher, it worked, so let's see if I'm lucky this time. Here we go. Attempt number 1. Nope, attempt 1 was a no. I hit that way too hard. Attempt number 2. Oh, it just missed it. All right, so... Man, I suck at these dex checks. Even from 2 inches away. 2! Alright, but nothing happens with that. So, my options are to either run for the forest or attack whomever exits the monastery. Alright, I'm going to let fate decide this one. So 1 through 3 is run for the forest. 4 through 6 is attack whoever exits. It's a 6, so I'm going to attack whoever exits. Go to 130. A small cluster of arguing redcaps emerges from the front door. You immediately shove them back into the building. One caught off guard falls backward farther into a hall. Another flees into the building, calling for help. A third tosses some sprinkling dust onto herself and transforms into a squishy blob with many eyes and reaching tentacles, some of which also have eyes. The thing's maw chants an alien tune, and you find yourself mesmerized by the many eyes. Your arms grow weak and limply hang at your sides. First option is you break the spell, and it's a wit. Break the spell and flee outside, seeking forest cover from the rising sun. If I win, I gain tag hunt. If my vigor is at 3 or less, I gain a vigor and go to encounter 125. I do not have the ward tag. So this is a wit. If I'm successful, then then there's that. If I do not, then I just don't use the continue option. All right, it's a wit of 5, which means I need to have 5 dice in sequence. And I only have one option here to play with, so here we go. Two, 4, 5, 5, 6. I have one option here. Let's see, I can re-roll one die. What is flip? Flip a die. Flip one die, turn it upside down. So, if I flip that one... Two, 4, 5, 5, 6. No, my one option here is to... My one possibility is to basically... I have a 2, 4, 5, 5, 6. I need to re-roll one of those 5s and hope it's and get a 3. So I can get a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's try it. It's my one shot at it. Hope for a 3. Nope, it's a 1, so that is a fail. So I have to now then go to the one remaining path before me. You experience a profound loss of identity. Are you alive? Do you exist? Lose any and all photocopied character sheets from E100. You have no means of restarting at E101. So that screen cap I made, gone. All right. So now I just had my save point wiped. Go to E6. You wake in a small cell behind a padlocked portcullis. Bones litter the ground. Moonlight streams between 2 bars in the ceiling. Every part of your body aches. You find that your foes have searched you. Lose all items except for any that... Okay, so I still have the key. So basically, they threw me back in the jail cell, but they still have not. I mean, I had no items except for the crypt key, which I still have on my person. So I'm gonna do that. So we go back to 41. You use the handy key on the padlock and lift the portcullis, thinking that it was a bad idea for the denizens of these crypts to have dropped such a valuable key, but it's the last time that you'll need it as you spy a door out of the building. We go to E100. You have exited what turns out to be an abandoned monastery. The morning star gleams green low in the east and ready to welcome the imminent dawn. So gain tag Mesk. Okay, so I've already have that tag. You may only have one of each tag or item. Okay, so I do not gain another Mesk tag, but I do gain 1 XP. And we're back at the point now where I can create a new save. So at this point, so I can now do that. So sure. Let's do a new one. All right, and then we go to E101. So now I have 2 XP this time to spend on something. And you know what I'm going to do? This time I'm going to take that 2 XP and I am going to spend both of them to increase my wit by 1. So we're going to go up. That'll go up to 2 now. Give myself 2 actions. All right, so once again, we're now back in the place of feeling pain because sunlight, owie on your skin, owie, ow, ow, ow. And then I have to roll 1 die and subtract it from the number of karma tags. So once again, basically this will be a non-issue because, yeah, I only have 1 karma. That's a negative result. Daylight has become a mortal enemy. Whatever you must do to survive and cure this tumor, it'll need to happen primarily in darkness, and then you realize you're not alone. So we're back out here from the arguing redcaps. So I can try again to go to the bar. To the barn, not the bar. So sure, it's a dex of 2. Let's see if I'm better this time. From 2 inches away. Here we go. Attempt number 1. Nope. That failed. And attempt number 2. And that just failed. All right. So this time I'm not going to attack whoever is coming out of the monastery. This time I'm going to run for the forest and see where that leads me. Go to encounter 125. But first, the bot is reminding me to drink some water. So let's do that. You break into a run over small hills among pink-tipped bushes. The sun beats upon you and waves of pain emanate from your arm. With each agonizing minute, your speed slows, soon to a jog and then to a walk. The forest draws near. Will you make it? You will keep a running total that starts at 0. Step 1. Lose 1 vigor or 1 ward tag. So I only have the 1 ward tag, so let's just get rid of you. Then roll 1 die per vigor remaining, up to 6 dice. So I have 10 vigor remaining. Our ambient dark dungeon crawling. Restart you. All right, roll 1 die per vigor remaining, up to 6 dice. So we'll take, it's 6d6. Add the sum of these dice to your running total. Repeat the 3 steps above until your vigor reaches 0 and you die, or your running total reaches 40 and you reach the forest. All right. So I have 10 vigor, which means, okay. So here we go. We're starting the count, so I have to either reach 40 in running total, or I die. So we're starting with that. So let's just keep a running tag here of the running total is at 0. Starting at 0. So I'm going to be losing some health here as I roll 6d6. So I'm hoping for high rolls, because if I'm lucky, I will get to 40 before I lose too much health. But you never know. The dice may kill me. Here we go. First roll. I get a 5, a 5, a 5, a 3, a 3, and a 2. So that's 15 plus 6 is 21, plus 2 is 23. We are halfway home. Now I have to repeat that. So now I have to lose a vigor. Roll one die per vigor, remaining up to 6 dice, so I'm still rolling 6d6. We have a 2, a 1, a 3, a 4, a 6, and a 2. So that gives me 10, 15 plus 18, which gives me 41. All right, cool. I only lost 1 health out of that, and I lost my ward tag. But either way, we are successful. Thanks to my high vigor here. The warrior has high vigor. I don't know why I did that. Put all my dice back in the dice tray. I'm still using these. All right, so the running total is successful. All right. We can get rid of you. Okay. The deep shade and shimmering air of the forest fill you with relief. You collapse and enter no ordinary sleep as you dream of fairy voices singing a hymn of healing. You wake refreshed after sunset and drink from a stream. Gain 1 vigor per ward tag that you have. I have none, so out of all of that, the net loss is 1 HP. Proceed into the forest, go to encounter 150. You wind among the trees of the forest. When traveling by night, you have the freedom to choose any path through the shimmering woods. By day, you either sleep or walk only among the darkest stands of trees that you can find, as they protect you from the worst of your sun-induced pain. If you have the tag Hunt, go to encounter 151. So I'm not even going to bother with the 4 options that are there because I have the Hunt tag. Go to E151. Near sunset, the day after your departure from the monastery, you find an outcropping of mushrooms. As you examine them and try to decide whether they'd be safe to eat, the barking of dogs echoes somewhere to the north. The redcaps are out to hunt you down? I do not have the ward tag. I do not have the disguise item. I do not have PFA1, which, I think that is the pigeon familiar. Yeah, I don't have it. So my only option is a dex of 5 to outrun the dogs by going south. Alrighty, because I've been so good at these dex checks. Twice. Okay, so we're going from 5 inches away this time. Alrighty, here we go again. First attempt. First attempt is a miss. God damn it. Second attempt. I'm gonna fail it because apparently this is not my jam. Oh! just a fraction too hard. All right, that's a fail. Go to E167. You run from the barking as best you can, but the sound grows louder. Night has fallen. You soon start stumbling over logs and dips in the turf. Eventually, as a team of dogs crests a hill to your rear, you trip over a rock and land with your face in a pile of leaves. The dogs pounce upon you, tearing at your clothes, items, and flesh. Lose 2 vigor. Also, lose the 2 items that are alphabetically first among your items as the dogs tear at your belongings. So I lose the key. I lose the crypt pass key, and yeah, that was all I had. So I have no items at all. I do not have a ward tag, so my only option is to attack. And since I do not have a weapon, I have no modifier here. I have to roll 5 or higher on a d6. So with my 2d6, one of them needs to be 5 or higher. Don't like my odds of 33%, but it is unfortunately the only option I now have. But it's a success! I have a 3 and a 6! How much more harm do the dogs do before you manage to finish them? On a success, no additional harm. Has my fate changed for the better? On a success, I lose tag hunt and go to E163. All right, so this tag goes bye-bye. And we go to 163. Your survival skills, and some luck, eventually lead you to a narrow walking path with many small boot tracks that connect to a logging road. One direction leads north to the moors, while the other runs southward deep into the forest and perhaps beyond. You head south until, as the barest hint of sunlight glimmers on the eastern horizon, you come upon a giant lumberjack. To your surprise, he only has one eye. "Rather far from home, are we?" he asks, smirking. He steps forward, blocking the road. I can either ask for directions, try running around him, or fight him. If I fight him, it's a hit of 5 or higher. If I do a dex, let's try running around him. So first, you know what? Let's not immediately assume that everything is hostile and out to get me. Let's try the polite way first. Since I am unarmed and everything, let's ask for directions. Go to encounter 140. He intones. Well, the shortest path is to go down that trail over there, watch for the large boulder, and turn south there. That will take you directly to the Wizard's Road. He blinks, or winks, his one eye and lets you pass. I can either attack him at this point, I can follow the giant's advice, or ignore the giant's advice and continue following the logging road south. You know what? He hasn't hit me, he hasn't done anything to me yet, let's just follow his advice. Let's go to encounter 166. As promised, the route eventually takes you to a narrow road headed southeast. However, it does not run far before ending at a small wooden hut nestled in the woods. You hear nothing in the hut and see no signs of life. Beyond the hut, sunlight washes the sky, filling your body with a now familiar ache. I cannot do the first 2 options. They require items I don't have. And the other options are hide in the hut from the sun or hurriedly find another hiding spot. You know what? There's looks like a perfectly cromulent hut right here. Let's go to 168. Let's hide in the hut. You step into the hut, ready to fight any hidden adversary, but the hut is silent and dark. In fact, you find it cool and comfortable as well. It contains no furniture. Nonetheless, the bare floor is a welcoming place to sleep. If you have the tag Hunt, go to E173. Otherwise, go to E172. We lost the Hunt tag when we were successful with the dogs. So we go to 172. You wake in darkness. Has night fallen? You look toward the door but see nothing. Have you gone blind? You stand and thrash about the room. You feel weak and growing ever weaker. Place 2 dice on the table with 1 inch between them. Okay. One inch in between them. Okay, I've done that. Then set 2 dice on top of each of those. These 4 dice are the door. Then, 6 inches from the center of the door, place a 3rd die. Attempt to flick this 3rd die between the 4 dice of the door. Your flicked die may touch the door dice, however it must not knock either of the top door dice to the table, and your flicked die must come to rest fully beyond the door dice. This is not a dex test, and dex-related items do not help you. If you fail, lose 1 vigor. Repeat until you succeed, losing 1 vigor with each failure. If you survive long enough to succeed, regain your sight and get back on the trail. Alright, so this is basically a game of paper football. So I have two small dice towers here of 2 dice each that are like this. I have to then put this 6 inches away from the center of that and try to get this die through the door. And every time I miss, I'm going to lose 1 health. And I have to keep doing this until I succeed. So there's the 6-inch mark. All right. So I have to fully clear the door here. This is not a dex test. This is just something I have to keep doing. And I have 7 shots at it. So here we go. That's a fail. So there's 1 fail. Number 2. 2 is a fail. Hey! 3rd tries a charm. But it took me two misses, so we're now down to 5. Alright, to regain my sight and get back on the trail, we're going to encounter 145. The logging road grows broader and flatter. The area all around becomes marshy and smells of rot. The trees have fewer leaves here, and moonlight streams down, reflecting off the swill of stinking muck. In the distance, you see a shadow rise from the water. You hear a splash and a growl and a wave of darkness coming at you. I can either sprint into the forest, climb a tree, or fight whatever comes my way. You know what? Since right now, I'll take the first dex option, because that's a dex of 4. And if I fail it, nothing happens with that. So let's try that first. We definitely have gone over my streaming time, but I'm having so much fun. I am going to have to call it, though, because this is getting a little running a little long here, but I want to see how this ends. I'm having a blast. All right, so I have 2 shots at this, so let's try it. That misses. And that just comes up short. All right, that fails. Sprint into the forest. This time it's a dex of 5. Okay. Now this is a success or fail. So first attempt. Ah, it hit it and did not knock. It was a glancing blow, so I am successfully sprinting into the forest. Go to E132. You successfully evade a massive wave of sloshing and growling without getting lost. After catching your breath, head south. Go to E134. The marsh becomes rocky as you move south, and the water gathers into small brooks. These combine into a river that runs fresh and clear, and you find a small patch of berries. During the next night, you spot 3 tablets rising from the rocky soil. Unfortunately, they're on the other side of the water, which is now a cold, fast-moving rapids. I can either balance on rocks to cross the river, or just keep it quick and simple and head south. So it would require a dex check. Would you success or fail? I'm just going to head south on this one. So let's go to E129. The ravine broadens into a green pasture lit by the first glow of the rising sun. You feel the familiar ache, but it's overwhelmed by the joy of seeing torchlights twinkling on towers in the distance. Stepping through the city gate takes you into the morning market at the city's north square. Fishmongers, farmers, artificers, alesmen, conjurers, healers, and merchants of every sort vie for attention with signage and with their shouts toward passers-by. Most people at the market are human. However, humans in the capital refer to the city of Canol in their Marcio language as the middle city for a reason. It sits at the confluence of rivers leading to human, gnomish, and goblish lands. So you see gnomes selling food, goblins exchanging money, and even a few elves and dwarves. The scene takes your breath away, not because of its diverse cacophony, but because it feels entirely familiar. You've walked through this gate 100 times to sell dungeon crawling services to wealthy wizards in this city. The community is deep in the Middle Forest, far from humanity's larger cities. Here, wizards can operate with little interference from the Grand Major who rules the capital. Your feet carry you on a well-trod shortcut through a dark alley to a broad boulevard and beneath a massive banner. Gain 1 XP. Welcome to the Forum of the Council. Go to encounter 201. As you step past the guard into a hall, a magical trumpet sounds high in the rafters above, announcing your entry. Attendants step from a small vestibule to greet you, smiling. Fox of the Forest, welcome as always. Gain 1 XP. Write your name on your character sheet. Fox of the Forest. Your heart remembers these people more clearly than your mind does, and you find yourself smiling in return. They show you to a small apartment where you look forward to dining, bathing, and reclining in a luxurious chair to catch a nap before members of the council will see you late in the day. There's even talk of raspberry-flavored healing drafts somewhere available within the building. But perhaps it's not to be, for an attendant notices your arm and comments that a priest has been healing many similar tumors lately at an obscure sanctum outside the city. I can either eat, drink, and recover my strength, or squeeze in a trip to the sanctum. If I recover, I gain 1 health. If I squeeze in a trip to the sanctum, I lose 2 health from exposure to the morning sun. I think I want to gain that health back from smashing into the door. So, yeah, let's do that. Go up to 6, and we'll go into encounter 220. The attendants usher you into the inner chambers of the Wizard Council. There, 3 wizards sit at an enormous table at the head of the hall, with 3 vacant chairs among them. Massive torches light the room, for it has no windows. Behind the wizards gather numerous attendants, acolytes, and advisors. What can you recall about these wizards? It's a wit test. It's a wit of 4. If I succeed, I go to 1 encounter. If I fail, then I do the 1 remaining path. So we'll do a wit. It's of 4, and I have 2 actions this time. And again, I have to get a small straight here. Three, 3, 4, 4. Jesus. Okay. And I only have 2 actions here. So let's see. So flipping the 4s over would only give me 3s. 3, 3, 4, 4. Damn. That was a sucky roll. And I cannot re-roll it. I cannot re-roll all of it. Actually, hold on, I have 2 actions. No, I can't decrease a die. I can only increase it. Because I could bump that 4 up to a... Oh, wait a minute. 3, 3... No. Alright, so I could bump one of them up to a 5. And then with my other action, hope that I roll a 2. Alright, so that's all I can do. So let's hope I roll a 2. On my second action. I also got a 6, so now that becomes 3, 4, 5, 6. So that winds up actually succeeding. So success. Go to E211. Duh, Brian, a 6 also would have worked there. You recognize all 3 of the wizards, customers each, who hired you to carry out quests. In fact, 2 of the 3 have even hired you to pilfer each other's dungeon in the past. You suppress a smirk, remembering how you stole a scroll from one of them, only to steal it back for the other. It's coming back now. The 3rd wizard is a special case, a witch who convinced the council to fund your expedition to investigate the Redcaps, but she herself intends to use what you discover to create or recruit a private army of Redcaps for herself. Giving her the ability to conjure Redcaps would quickly, or slowly, yet nonetheless inexorably, lead to conflict within the council. The other wizards would consider it treason. Aside from the fact that this would weaken the city's leaders at a moment they face peril from the Redcaps, conflict also could interfere with the small matter of getting paid for your investigation of the Redcap Monastery. Gain 1 XP. The council invites you to approach. Go to encounter 221. Good to see you've returned from investigating the wee folk menace of the north. What are these evil beings' activities and goals? What are their powers? What are their weaknesses? I do not have the 2 tags. So I cannot do that. So I only can just use the 1 remaining option to me, which is describe my escape from the Redcap lair and my journey through the forest. Go to 219. Upon hearing your tale, the wizards express relief that the Redcaps dislike sunshine. They plan a discussion with the rest of the council at the next scheduled meeting, and you retire to your apartment for the night. Still needing a rest from your journey, you quickly sink into a sleep broken by the sound of a creak in the darkness. I have only 1 option available to me, and that's to attack. And it's an attack of 6. That's all I can do. There is no higher than 6, so I must apparently drop one of my d6s and have it roll under a thing, but that's alright, I've got a bunch more. I'll grab that later. Alright, I have to attack, and I have to roll a 6. Get a 6 on either one of these dice. So here we go. 1 and a 4. It's a fail. Go to 218. The intruder throws gritty dust into your face, which fills you with dizziness. You collapse to the floor, convulsing, and you pass out. Lose 2 vigor. You awake to find yourself in shackles and being pulled to your feet by the council guard. They look as wide-eyed and as surprised as you feel. In response to your demand for an explanation, they bring you to the 3 wizards who demand a justification for the document found in your room, a contract with the Redcaps to betray the city. Forgery and planted evidence, you claim. But just how persuasive are you? I have to do a wit of 5, so I have to roll a straight. With 2 actions to do it. 2 1s, a 3, a 4, and a 6. So let's see. Let's see if I can maneuver any of that. 3, 4, 4, 3, 6, 6, 1. Okay. Okay. So I can do... I can't do anything with the 6. I can raise one of them by 1 to bring it up to 2. Which means that gives me a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Which means on my last action I need to I need to roll a 5. So let's do it. Let's see if we do it. No, it's a 4, so I get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. So that's a fail. Go to E212. The 3 seated members of the council, expressing deep disappointment and dismay, hold you for trial. Powerful magics bind you within the city's prison with negligible chance of escape. The council will hear your case at the next meeting. Add your XP to the number of ward tags. The result determines the conclusion of your tale. If the total is 8 or greater, go to E213, otherwise go to 214. So my XP to the number of ward tags, I have 0, and I have 3 XP. So it is not 8 or greater. We're going to go to 214. The council sentenced you to death for treason. On the evening of your execution, a large crowd gathers. Some of the public remain unconvinced of your guilt, but others appear almost gleeful, and as the guillotine descends, you notice many of them wear red caps. Lose all your vigor. You are dead. And that is how our game is going to end tonight. Such promise only to be framed and found guilty right at the end. So that is that. That was an excellent run. That was an excellent run. Our Fox of the Forest went through so much. He escaped. He made it to the city. We were in the clear, only to get that last twist right at the end. The red cap. The red cap wins in the end. Oh, man. That was an excellent run. So what did you think? What did you think? I enjoyed that. I am curious to see where that's going to go. I might do that more of that on stream, actually. That was a lot of fun. I am also very interested to seeing what the story goes. However, keeping in mind that I was able to create another save point, as it were. So I can go back to that in a future game. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a ton of fun. So, all right, I have gone 45 minutes over when I said I was going to end this, because I was just having a blast. So thank you all so much for spending your Saturday with me. I very much enjoyed the pleasure of your company. Thank you once again to Veronica and Paul for their donations. And I will see you tomorrow at 1:30 in the afternoon for Celeste. But now I'm going to unwind and get some sleep. So until I see you guys tomorrow, thank you so much. Be happy. Stay healthy. Stay safe. Love you guys. Good night. And joy be with you all, everyone. Be well. I'll see you tomorrow.